Okay. Hi. Okay. The reason you're watching this video is because you're having trouble outreaching or you don't know how to outreach. But at the end of the day, you just want to get clients because it's really annoying how like having to outreach and not know what you're doing or not even understanding how outreach works. That's the one thing people don't understand. It's one thing to outreach and fail, but it's another thing to think like I don't like this feeling. I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I outreaching? What does outreaching even do? What is it? Okay, because at the end of the day, you know you want clients. And as far as you know, you just want to have to talk to them. You just know that you have to talk to them in order to land them. But you're so lost when it comes to the idea of outreach. I don't talk about this topic, I think, nearly enough. I've always been more of an inbound guy, but I don't think inbound is better than outreach. I don't think you should either, because at the end of the day, both of them are landing clients. They're both exactly the same, right? They both have their perks, okay, but at the end of the day, they're both landing clients. So I'm gonna get into a few stories that completely broke my beliefs and made me think completely different when it comes to the topic of outreaching. And I want to share this with you because these were the two most soul-crushing experiences I've had when it comes to outreach. So this is the first one, right? So I've blurred out the names here, and then this is the second one. I'm just gonna grab real quick. Yeah, I can't show the names. So yeah, these two. So this is the first one, and this is the second one. These two I want to talk about because they completely broke my entire belief system when it came to outreach. You see, before I get into these, I want to explain my idea of outreach was it's like a ticket, right? Right? It's like a ticket. You get to use one time. Oh shit, one time, like a one time ticket. And once you use it, like once you outreach to a certain creator, you can never DM them ever again. Okay? Because I thought if I DM you and then you don't respond to my message, or you say no, we talk and you say no, then I can never have another chance ever again. Because the next time I have to go DM you, that little embarrassment of not having a response is up there, right? It's just gonna sit there forever. It's gonna stay there floating. So I thought, wow, I thought the mindset of a creator was, if I rejected you once, why should I hire you ever again? So I was very scared of outreaching because I thought, okay, I can outreach to 1,000 creators, but if they all say no, that's 1,000 creators I can never message again. I can never work with again. So my idea was like, okay, just bank on inbound and only inbound so they can do the outreaching. Which is not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Inbound's good, but when you're starting out, you don't expect the girl to come to you, right? Well, in this case, the client. You don't expect the client to just come to you. That doesn't just happen out of magic. That doesn't happen out of charity, and that certainly isn't happening now. So I thought, once you message a creator, so rejected is forever, and I thought that inbound was better. And I just thought overall that it was embarrassing. They were gonna look at me and think how embarrassing. Okay, so I didn't want judgment from the creator. But everything that I believed when it came to outreaching was so poor on my mental health. It was so bad because it made me feel like I didn't have any belief in myself. I didn't believe that anybody would hire me. I was like, it was sad, bro. So when I when I would DM a client, I would be so scared. And another thing, here's another belief that I had. If they don't respond, in like 2 hours, then they won't ever respond, right? So no response in 2 hours equals no, right? I thought that in 2 hours time, because 2 hours is enough time, right? They're creators. They're always going to be on Twitter looking at their DMs. No, I've been accepted by clients months after responding to them. Okay? And there've been so many experiences in my career which I want to share with you so that you can see that they're not true, right? You can just see, okay, it's not true. Whatever I'm thinking right now is just inside my head. Okay? I can guarantee you everything you're thinking of is inside your head. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of experiences in your career where you're going to realize, oh yeah, that was bullshit. But I'm going to save you the time now, and I'm going to show you my experiences. I'm actually going to show you my private DMs with creators, to show you what exactly happened and how they enlightened me to see the truth, which is what I'm going to explain after I show you. So I'm going to show you this first DM. I'm going to bring it up here so we can't get a sneak peek of the other one. So I was cocky, right? So let's dissect this real quick. I was cocky. Need a content editor. I'm your guy, right? And we can see this was DM'd on May 15th, 2021, right? And I got a response. This screenshot was taken in 2023. So we can just cross this out and say this was early 2023. So this was between January to March 2023. So I remember screenshotting this, right? So yeah. Just put this here. Just put this here, right? So yeah, this is between January to March 2023. And yeah, let's just put like March, because why not, right? I don't want to complicate things too much. So March 2023, okay. But either way, this was 2 years after having DM'd him. So this was me being cocky, okay. This was me getting a couple clients here and there, a couple like $15 clients, thinking I'm the shit. I came in there cocky because I thought, wow, creators love somebody who can actually get the job done and show it. I thought I was like Harvey Specter, bro. I thought I was the guy, but I wasn't. I said, need a content editor, I'm your guy. And then I sent him like my Behance. And if you don't know what Behance is, it's like the first thing that I used. Let's see if I can, behance.net/ dannyrio. Okay, whatever. I can't find my. But anyways, this is what I used to show my original portfolio. This is my first ever portfolio, and it obviously didn't work, right? Because I didn't get response until March 2023, and this wasn't even like. And 2 years later, this isn't even in response to this. This was just him outreaching to me, and I said, "Hi, I'm sorry, I'm not taking commissions at the moment." Now, this doesn't mean that I didn't say this out of spite for him. I didn't say, "Oh wow, you didn't respond to me, so I'm not gonna accept you." I was genuinely busy. But when I saw this, I thought, "Wow, what a fucking change, right?" To be rejected and then to have him DM me. So already, where is it? Already, not only did we break the fact that rejected equals forever, okay, but we realized that we've broken this one, so it's not embarrassing if he's coming to DM me, right? Coming to DM me after having rejected me 2 years ago, right? So he obviously doesn't really care about DMing me despite my DM history with him, right? So he has no shame. Therefore, why should I feel shame, right? Why should I feel shame about DMing people and then getting aired or rejected or left on red, I guess you could say, right? If he's going to come and DM me the same thing 2 years later, looking to hire me, right? So if he feels no shame, why should I, right? No response in 2 hours. Okay, so it was this one. Rejected equals forever. So if I'm rejected, that doesn't mean I don't have a chance. I had a chance right here, 2 years later in March. In 2023. So between May 21st, no response. I thought this was over. Over forever. But like, people don't really care. Like, people genuinely don't care about the time gap. People care about your skill level, just where you're at in terms of your skill. And 2 years later, obviously, this guy thought I was good enough to be hired, but he just didn't think that I was good enough then, right? So it's not about, oh, you had your chance to DM me, never again. It's simply about, oh, I don't think you're the right fit, but now you are. So I realized that just because I get rejected doesn't mean that it's like that forever, right? And this was such a turning point for me, because even 2 years later, in early 2023, I was like, wow, this is so crazy. Like, because I was still relatively afraid of outreaching then. Like, I had gotten over a lot of fears because I was much more confident. Obviously, I was a bit cocky here, but here I think this is just pure confidence, just saying that I'm not taking commissions at the moment. Despite wanting somebody's attention this much. And I'm not gonna say who it was, but this guy's big. Like, this guy's got connections. So I was really desperate to work with this guy at the beginning. I thought cocky was the way. It wasn't. And then I rejected him purely because I was just very busy at the time. But that's nothing bad, right? But this was still such an insane moment for me. A huge turning point. And I hope you realize that if you DM somebody, it's not over forever. And people don't really care that you may have DM'd them once, because this doesn't exist, right? Just because you DM'd them once doesn't mean that you can't be DMing them again, right? And then here's the second one. This one's, I think, a little bit better, because I think, judging by how much text is on the screen anyways, you can tell that this is embarrassing. So I DM'd a creator. By the way, at the time, let me just put it into perspective. At the time, I was working with a creator who would pay me $50 when my prices were $33. So my prices were $33 at the very, very most. And then he said, no, let's do 50, right? So he's paying me $50 for 2 hours of footage. And yeah, I had like a week to do them, I think, or something like that. And then this creator was the one creator I was going to work immediately after. So after this guy, I was going to hopefully work with him. And this guy was paying for a video that had, so let me just write this down. The conditions were 2 hours of footage, 1 week of editing. Right? I just want to put into perspective how much I wanted this, and I think you could tell judging by how much text. So this was this guy's conditions, but then that was my original client's conditions, but this is this guy's conditions. It was $225, I think it was, for 20 minutes of footage, right? And 1 day of editing. So it was like kind of daily videos, except I wouldn't always be hired. He had a team of editors, and he'd pick, whoever was up for it, right? It was literally like a pick and grab, right? Just whoever wants it can get it, right? Whoever wants the video can have it. So yeah, a huge upgrade to do much less work. So this is literally like divided by 7. And then this was insane. This was like divided by 6. And then this was like, for math's sakes, like I can't be asked. Let's just put it to 200. This was like 4 times more. 4.5 times more. Oh, whoops. No. There we go. 4.5 times more, I think. Let me just check. Yeah, there we go. Just look how insane this is. A huge difference. Much less work, much more pay. I wanted this guy so badly, and also, I don't want to say, but the sub count was, so for this guy it was about 80k, or no, when I started working with it was 80k, and then after a while it became like 150k. 150k? No. Well, we got to like 300k, I think. Oh, I don't remember. I think it was like 300k or somewhere between here. And this second guy was, I think, 5 million subscribers. Huge difference. So let's think about this. Much less work, much more pay. I mean, bigger pay and so many more subscribers. So I think you could see why I was so desperate to land this guy. So I said, hi, I saw you're looking for a team of editors and I'm interested in working with you. Okay, you can see here March 9th, 2022. Remember that. I'm quite experienced with, so you can see if it shows the time, that means between these two messages, it's a huge jump. Right, so let's just mark that. Huge jump between these two. So I'm quite experienced with working with fairly large creators, so I know what should and should not make into the final cut. Here's some of my work. And then you got the Behance portfolio. And then another jump in time. So this was 5-hour difference. So 3 p.m., no response. 5 p.m. So, 8 p.m., which is 5 hours later, no response. So I DM him like an hour and a half later. If it helps in any way, I'm friends with blank and blank already. So communication and helping each other reach the same style of editing is really easy. I'm aware that you've already spoken to them and they seem to be happy with how you treat them and talk to them. So these two people were editors on his team that I knew, that I was friends with. Now, it does help if a client is hiring a team of editors and you and your closest friends in the community, work for the same client. That's pretty cool experience. But don't use it to land a client, right? Do not. So with this, don't involve others. Don't use other people's names to get a job, right? Unless they give you their blessing, unless they say, yes, you may use my name. Yes, I can give you a testimonial. Yes, I can put a word in for you. Do not use others, right? And then let's put it like in brackets. Let's put it in like orange. Unless you have permission, right? Because not only is this gonna make it worse for you, but it's gonna make it worse. It's gonna make your relationship worse with whoever you use, right? Unless you have permission. Let's just put perm because I want to get past this, right? So unless you have permission, I need to fix the way I write, bro. Anyways, so yeah, this was another jump. So let's look here. 9 p.m. to May. Okay, so this was a huge jump. Huge jump. So you can see here, huge jump. This was between March, and then let's count, April, May. So that's a 2-month difference. Okay? May 6, 2022, at nearly 1 a.m. Yeah, nearly 1 a.m. Hi, blank. I understand that you're currently have a group of editors and you were wondering if you needed another member to your team. And then 2 minutes later, I send my portfolio again. I'm used to working with one client to avoid any problems with workflow and scheduling, and I can adapt sort in any style and content edit in my portfolio if you're interested in working with me. And then 20 minutes later, he says, yo. And then I responded casually with yo. So after all of this, I decided to pull out the nonchalant card. I think I'm that guy. I genuinely thought I was that guy, right? I remember seeing this. Oh my God, I remember seeing this on my phone. Like, I was, where was I? I think I was actually here. I think my desk was in this position, and my phone was over here, and I saw it buzz, and I saw, just in the glare, with the glare of the sun looking at it, not the sun, but, you know, some sort of light, I saw the Twitter notification of this guy DMing me. And I was like, oh my God, I need to relax, right? So let's break down where exactly I went wrong with all of this. So first and foremost, oh shit. I sent walls of text, right? Rule 1 of trying to outreach to clients. God knows how I actually landed him. Like, this is kind of a bad idea showing you this, because I don't want people to think that this is what you should be doing. But do not send walls of text to clients, right? I sent walls of text. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the ratio between my end to this guy. Okay? So, number 1, don't send walls of text. Number 2, don't use others, right? Dragging others into this. Okay? Unless they give you permission, you do not use somebody else to land a client. That is not how it works. Okay? Not how it works. Because here's the thing. That's going to damage your relationship with A, the person that you use, and B, that's going to make you look weak to the clients. Okay? And I mean weak in a sense of you're obviously trying to pull out every single card in this set. You're trying to pull out every trick in the book. You're trying to pull out everything that you have. And it's true. That's exactly what I was doing. So we can see here, I'm experienced with fairly large creators. Bear in mind, the only large creator I had worked with from 80k till 300k. And then I tried to use my friends already. Group of editors. And then I used the workflow and scheduling thing, as in I only want to work with you, right? I'm also interested in, I can adapt to any sort of style. Yeah, I tried to use everything that I could. Communication with each other will be really easy, right? So, not only did I try to use them for the sake of a testimonial, but I tried to use them as, good communication between each other, right? Bad idea. Don't use others. Don't use walls of text. And then, most of all, don't beg. Just don't beg it, bro. Right? Don't beg. Okay? Because ultimately, clients don't care too much for this. But if you're annoying them, they're not going to work with somebody who has the capability on first impression to be this annoying. Because if you have no spine, if you can genuinely just show that you're willing to beg this much for a job off the bat without knowing them, right? Then could you imagine how annoying you'll get when worst comes to worst, right? If this is 1% of your annoyingness, what's 100% looking like? I don't want to find out. Genuinely, I don't know how. I think I don't know how I landed this client. Genuinely, this is the most unfair thing of all time. He was obviously looking for editors months later, and I DM'd him. But there is a few things that this experience did for me. First of all, it was very embarrassing in itself. And I realized that, shit, bro. I realized that being embarrassing isn't the outreaching part. It's how you outreach. And if this walls of text is how you outreach, that is embarrassing. So I felt my first form of real embarrassment when I sent that. Okay? So I realized that actually outreaching isn't embarrassing. It's just sending walls of text that's embarrassing. Right? Whereas inbound isn't better because I landed a big client over here. From outreaching. Again, probably the worst outreach I've ever seen, but I still landed him. Because after this, I was talking about the conditions. I did everything right after this, essentially. Which I might be able to find. Yeah, I did pretty well after that. I don't know how. Yeah, it basically just talking about adaptability and how his style works, and he was impressed with that. Anyways, no response in 2 hours equals no. This was a huge one. Because look, okay, these are intervals of like 5-hour jumps. So how long was this? This was 5 hours. This was 1.5 hours. This was 2 months. 2 months. So not only did this break this as well, this came way before the see, this was in 2022, whereas this one was in 2023. So yeah, this one was the original icebreaker for me. Like, I mean, the limit breaker for me. So not only did I realize that you can DM somebody months later, you can beg somebody months later and still land the job, right? Sorry, not only can you DM somebody hours later and still land the job, you can DM somebody months later and still land the job. Hell, you can DM somebody and get the job years later, right? DMing them once doesn't mean that you're rejected forever. Understand that, okay? You do not land better clients via inbound, right? You can outreach to bigger clients and get the job. It is not embarrassing to outreach to clients. For crying out loud, it's your income. It's how you make your money. It's how you get your job. It's not embarrassing, right? The only thing that can make it embarrassing is the way that you outreach, aka walls of text. And if you don't get a response immediately, relax. I've seen way too many people panic about this, and believe me, I did too. But if you don't get a response immediately, don't panic. Like, not everyone's on Twitter all the time. Like, you have nothing to worry about, okay? Both of these broke so many limiting beliefs in me. This one especially, because this one was just abysmal. This one was abysmal. Yeah, this guy was very nice. This is a very nice client. He gave me a video on the spot. I started DMing at 3 a.m. Jesus. But yeah. Yeah. So, what did I learn from all of this? Not only did I break these limiting beliefs, but I realized a few things. Let me move my coffee out of the way. There's nothing wrong with outreaching, because at the end of the day, everyone's in the same pond. This entire YouTube industry, right? Industry is in the same pond, right? We all need editors. We all need creators. We all need thumbnail designers. We all need each other. Therefore, outreaching to work with each other isn't embarrassing. There's genuinely no ego to this. Okay? Second of all, clients are just people. There was many times where I realized that I was DMing too professionally. Like, I would DM them with like, imagine if I went to ChatGPT right now, and I said, write an outreach message to an editing client. Okay, and back then ChatGPT didn't exist, but for example, let me just show you how ChatGPT does it. I hope you're doing well. I want to see if there's anything else I could assist you with regarding your editing needs, whether it's polishing your latest project or revisiting any previous work. I'm here to help ensure your content shines. If you have any upcoming or require additional edits, feel free to reach out. I'd love to discuss how I can support you in making your work even stronger. Look forward to hearing from you. Best regards, name, contact info, website applicable. Okay? Very professional. Like, too professional. Here's the thing. We aren't all like dickheads in suits, right? We don't go office to office talking to each other. We're not. There's no required language for it. I don't give a shit if you're from like the US, or if you're from India, or if you're from Pakistan, or if you're from Venezuela, or if you're from like Algeria or France. I don't give a shit where you are. You do not need the biggest of words. You don't need to say the word regarding. You don't need to say revisiting. You don't need to say assist you. You don't need to say best regards. You don't even need to say looking forward to hearing from you all the time, right? This one's like a bit of a push, but seriously, look how this client could talk to me. 5 million subscribers, by the way. This is 5 million subscriber talk, right? Client. This is 5 million subscriber client talk. Why? Bro, we are all in the same pond, right? We're all just between the ages of like 13 to 30. We're all relatively young. We know that we don't want to do that whole office living 9 to 5 life bullshit. So why try to be them? No, hello, good sir. How's your day? I'm here to assist you with your editing needs. You can literally just outreach to somebody and say, yo, do you need a video done? Right? I'm not kidding, by the way. Obviously, it depends where you are, like where you are in your career. If you've been editing for like a couple days or a couple weeks, it's probably not best to do that. Because how experienced you are can define how you look, right? How people perceive you. So when you begin, for example, when you're a beginner, like I was in 2021, and I said, need a content editor, I'm your guy. This goes from casual to cocky very fast, because obviously I wasn't very experienced. I was not very experienced. Okay. So if you just say, like, I wouldn't even say this nowadays. Need a content editor, I'm your guy. But some people may let it slide if I'm a lot more experienced, right? But even nowadays, I wouldn't say something like I'm your guy, right? I'd probably just say, I heard you needed an editor. Here's my portfolio. Done. That's literally all you need. I literally recorded this. I recorded this. What day is it today? The 21st. I recorded this a few days ago, right? I recorded this very video a few days ago. Hey man, I saw you looking for an editor. Here's my portfolio. Let me know if this is still the case, right? No response. But I don't care, because at the end of the day, you don't need a lot. You do not need a lot in terms of outreach in order to land a client, right? It doesn't matter. It genuinely doesn't matter, okay? So, especially if you're a beginner, saying something like, I'm your guy, or yo, do you need a video edited? It can go from casual to cocky. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be like this. You don't have to be like this. You know, you don't need to slick. People know how to talk, right? It's just, hi, I heard you needed an editor. Here's my work. Done. If they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't, right? Because genuinely, all you need, the reason why there's not a lot of text to be shown, right? For example, with this, the reason why there's not a lot of text to be shown is because don't force conversation. Okay? It's in the client's decision if they want to talk to you or not, if they want to make a deal with you or not, if they want to work with you or not. So don't force conversation. If you force conversation, they're not going to hire you. people work with who they like. People, if somebody likes you, they're more likely to work with you than if they don't like you. Like, I don't give a shit if there's a client that can provide me everything that I want. Like, creative freedom, a lot of money, and a lot of time to work on the video. If they're a prick, I'm not going to work with them. Simple as. People only work with who they like, right? So if you try to force conversation, I'm going to stop deleting it. If you want to force conversation, bro, if you send this amount trying to force a conversation, like, I'm not saying the words in specific, but for example, if there's this much blue text in your screen, there's a problem. All you need to do is show them your portfolio. They will deem you worthy. And if they don't deem you worthy, there's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do. But that's not the end of the world. If they don't think you're worthy to hire, that's not the end of the world. Right? Like, look at this. I didn't even get a response. And I'm not to say that I'm the best editor in the world, but clients that rejected me back in the day definitely wouldn't reject me now. Right? Like, there's even been clients who looked at me after having DM'd them and thought, oh yeah, he's far too expensive. Where is it? Look at this. This is another client. And this was in February this year. But I reckon you're a bit out of my price range depending on what your budget is. This is cold as fuck, bro. To say, yeah, I reckon you're out of my price range. Okay, clients can tell, right? Clients have a brain. They're human just like you. They're not some robots. They can go on your profile and see if you're good enough for the job, if you're out of their price range, if you're within their price range, whatever, right? What is this? Anyways, let me show you how the conversation structure should actually go from start to end, right? You should send, when it comes to, let's say you land a client and I'm reviewing your text. This should be talking about the video. So video. This should be introduction. So, hi, I saw you needed a video editor. Here's my portfolio. This should be price talk. Or maybe like, bro, maybe like this, right? If that. But even then, price shouldn't be nearly, like, you should not be talking about the price more than you should be talking about the video. And you should not be talking about yourself more than you talk about the video. Okay? Why? Why do we do this? It's so that we want to show the client that we actually give a shit about their content. Whether you care about them or not doesn't matter. Like, but the point is they need to feel like, you know, they matter. Okay? So you talk about their video, their project. The more passionate a client is about their work, the more they have to say, the more opinions they have on it, the more they want to be in control, the better. Now, I understand what you're thinking, like, oh, but what if I want to run things? What if I want to have creative freedom? What if I want to have fun in the video? Then debate that with them. But if the point is, if they care about their video, this is a good client to work with. You don't come into a lot of these. A lot of people just give you slop instructions. Oh, do this, do that. Oh, we need retention. And here's my retention tricks that I picked up from a video that I saw ages ago. Like, it's very rare to see a lot of clients. So spend a lot of time, like as much time as you can, talking about them. Talk about their video, their project, their channel, their brand. This intro, don't force it. If they after you've sent your portfolio, if they don't respond, they don't respond. Okay? All this is to, like, this is to debate. Yes. Like, how do I even draw a thumbs up? I'm so silly, right? So, okay. Yes or no? Shit, how do I make it upside down? Oh, whatever, like, let's just, can we rotate it? Oh, fuck it. But you know what I mean. Yes or no, right? Yes or No, right? Are you worth talking to or not? If they don't think so, they don't think so. But there's nothing you can do about that, right? Don't force it. Don't send walls of text. Send a bit. Send a bit. And if they don't respond, they don't respond. There's other clients. And even so, if they say no right now, down the line, at some point, they could outreach to you. They could become an inbound client and say, hey, are you open for commissions? Like this guy did, right? You just need a bit. If they don't respond, they don't respond. But that doesn't mean they're never going to come back, right? They can come back. Even if it's 2 years later, 5 months later, 3 weeks later, tomorrow, right? And then after this is basically, by the way, just to confirm, this was horrible outreach. But the way that I landed this client was because I talked about the video afterwards. I was talking about his subtitle text. I was talking about, because this is something he was really big on. I could tell he was really anal about the whole subtitle text. I was just like, oh yeah, I see you've done this, and I understand that it's very similar to X Creator, but I know why that is. Don't worry, like I know why. I just became into like Houdini in a second, bro. I became like smart as fuck after that. But like, let me see if I could get something on. I mean, like I would show you, but it's gonna reveal who the client is, right? And I don't wanna do that. So, video price intro, yeah. There's not much to it. Like, I'm not gonna tell you techniques. I'm not gonna tell you, oh, by the way, say this word and that word. Okay, another one thing about words. You don't need buzzwords. You don't need to say generating views. You don't need to, I can multiply your income. I can generate you X amount of dollars. Like, this is really annoying. This really annoys me because you don't need the biggest words. You don't need these buzzwords. Remember what I said earlier. You don't need to be English. You don't need to be fluent in English in order to outreach to clients. And even if you don't know a lot of English, which I doubt that's the case because you're watching this video, you can still use stuff like Google Translate, right? Because it's over text. But generally, like, you don't need the biggest words. Like, hey man, I saw you're looking for an editor. Very simple. Need a content editor? I'm your guy. Yo. 5 million subscribers, by the way. Yo. Right? Like you need to get. You need to get the idea. These are not the people you're outreaching to. It's probably something like this. Let me see if I can find a good video. It is probably, at the very worst, like the most intimidating client you can get is something like this. Just some fucking guy with his Lambo. That is the worst it can get. And if it's not that, it's probably something like this. Like, I'm not even joking. It is probably somebody like this. Not that threatening. So, at best, they're like this. They're not that intimidating. At worst, they're like this. They have a Lamborghini and they have a bit of money, right? That is the worst case scenario. And I'm not saying that's like a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, this is the most intimidating a client can get. But no matter what, they're not. This isn't gonna be your client, right? And I guarantee you, if they are, they're gonna pay you like fuck all. I've seen clients like this who work with beginner editors for like $3 or something like that. Like, they're not like, there's nothing to be intimidated about. Okay, because even if you start and the dynamic between you two is like this. So what's that thing, like the seesaw? I think that's what it's called. Like in the kids' playground, where like one person is up here and then you jump and it's like this. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that what it's called? Seesaw. Yeah, it is. See, like this thing. You know, when one kid jumps up and the other. Okay, whatever. It's not gonna be like this forever, where the client runs things and the editor's like just the little bum saying like, oh yes, I'll do anything. I'll listen to you, right? Over time, you're gonna gain experience. You're gonna learn from your own mistakes. You're gonna learn from your client's workflow. You're gonna look at footage and see where clients mess up. You're gonna see what you can do. Over time, you're gonna get better. You're gonna learn more, right? You're gonna eventually get smarter and smarter. You're going to go up and up and up and up and up. And whether your clients do, it doesn't matter because you're going to get new clients. And then at some point, it's going to look like this. Or maybe like this, where we are both equal. Or like this. Shit. Right? Nothing to worry about, bro. You have nothing to worry about. That looks really weird. Okay? Because even if you're starting out and you don't know anything and you don't know, you know, how the editing stuff works and how to work with clients, you're going to learn. You're going to learn. And at some point, you're going to be on the same terms. You're going to be running things with the client. You're going to be learning. You're going to be teaching the client. Okay? You're going to get to a point where you start teaching the client. I've been at this point and it's the greatest feeling ever. Being able to teach your client. I've had a client pay me a lot of money. I shit you not, I had a client pay me just under $2,500 for a video. High paying client. Guy didn't know what he was doing. The guy hired me for that much money because he just wants to learn a bit about YouTube. Like, you could have gone to a coach for all I care, right? But he went to an editor instead, and he hired me to do the video, and I told him what to record and how to produce the video, and it felt so good because it was proof that I had learned and I had experienced so much to the point where I just know everything. Not everything. I know what to do when it comes to clients, right? I know how to deal with clients if they're rude, if they don't pay on time, okay? Because that's how learning works. That's how experience works. Okay? So if you start off here, you're going to learn, you're going to get better. You can get to here, or you can get to here depending on what your client relationship is like. But either way, you're going to learn and you're going to get better. How do I close this? Right? Remember, YouTube industry people, we're not working with men in suits, because even then, if somebody, no one's this intimidating. You do not have to worry. Like, these are people just like you. The most intimidating you're gonna get is some guy with a Lamborghini, and the easiest you're gonna get is some nerdy kid who just has a bit of money who wants to pay you for a video, right? It doesn't, like, you're not gonna escape these bounds, right? This is the most intimidating. This is the least intimidating you're gonna get. You're not gonna get this, so do not worry, right? You get rejected once, you're not rejected forever. Clients coming to you doesn't mean that, you know, that inbound is better than outreach. And it's not embarrassing. The only way you can be embarrassing is by doing all of this, right? But at the end of the day, you can still land a client. Believe me, if I landed a client with this opening, this big, back in 2022, so I was a year into my content editing freelance career, right? So I was editing content videos for like a year now, and I had landed a 5 million subscriber client. This is my biggest client at the time. So if I can do that back then, with no knowledge, bear in mind, there were no coaches back then. We had like Paddy Galloway to follow, and that was it. But then again, it wasn't to teach like outreach and, you know, landing editing clients and stuff. We had nobody. We had no coaches. We had no knowledge of what we were doing. It was purely just do stuff and learn. Right? So if I could do this back then, you can 100% do better now and land bigger clients now. Right? And you know not to talk like this. You want to talk a bit more like this. And if they don't talk to you after, they don't talk to you after. But if they do, fucking hell, bro. Then you want to talk about the video as much as you can. And then try to delay price as much as possible. Don't put your needs ahead of theirs, right? Make it look like you're putting their needs ahead of yours. We can talk about price later. We can talk, because I say this many times, but as you grow, as soon as you start working with more experienced clients, better clients, again, like higher paying clients, they're going to care about money less. I've worked with clients who've given me the video, and then I went to go edit that video, and then once I delivered, we would decide on a price afterwards, just to show that there was that much trust in each other, because we had both, like, that guy's been a YouTuber for how long now? Like 15 years, and I've been editing for like couple, like 3-4 years. But even then, like 3-4 years is enough to show that, you know, you can do deals like that, you know, where you decide the price afterwards. Anyways, point is, I'm yapping here. But point is like, delay price. You don't want to make it look like you're putting your needs ahead of theirs. Even if you are, like, no matter what your intention is, if you give a shit about the client or not, if you care about getting paid or not, if you're only doing this for the money or not, it doesn't matter. You can do editing for whatever reasons, right? But it's about how it looks to the client. These aren't robots. These aren't like PR masterminds. These are regular people. So whatever you know and whatever you think, they can probably have the exact same thing. Like thoughts. They can have the exact same thoughts. They can predict the exact same thing. So yeah, be careful about that. But yeah, this is everything you generally need to know. So yeah. And final talk, just take a chill pill, bro. Just relax. Like, you can DM like 100 people. You can DM 100 people and land one client. But that doesn't mean that's 100 people gone. That just means that you landed one client. Like, nothing changed. Nothing changed except that you landed a client. Seriously. If I was to outreach to 100 people and I landed 1 out of 100, nothing changes except that I landed a client. The other 99 people, they're not going to hate me. They're not going to berate me. They're not going to think I'm embarrassing. They're not going to think I'm cringy. They just didn't want to work with me. And if that changes down the line, okay, what if down the line 2 of these 99 people want to work with me? Then this entire result of having outreach to 100 people will now result into me getting 3 clients. Because I got the one here, remember? And I got 2 of them from here. So if that's confusing, let me just say it again. If I outreach to 100 people and I land 1 of them on the spot, that doesn't mean that these 99 people hate me or that they're never going to work with me. They just didn't want to work with me at the time. They just didn't think I was good enough. But if 2 years down the line, right? 2 years. If they think that I'm much better at editing, they can DM me. And they probably will. And then let's say two of them DM me out of these 99, right? 2 of them DM me. The result of all of this, whether I still work with this client or not, the entire result of this has landed me 3 clients, right? Because 2 of them had DM me years later. Let's put this down the line over here, right? So down the line, I had gotten an extra 2 clients, and I had landed 1 client from over here, right? Back in like the beginning. This is probably really confusing, but at the end of the day, all you need to know is that nothing happened. If I outreach to 100 people and 99 don't want to work with me, that the world does not change. The world does not stop moving. They don't think any differently of you. They didn't even know who you were. If anything, this is better. They didn't even know who you were. And if they were to go through their DMs and look for an editor and they find you and you eventually land them 2 years later, that's a good thing. They didn't even know who you were like before this. And now that they know you, they don't think of you as like some little shit who's really annoying. They're just like, oh, this guy wants to get in his bag. He just wants a job. If I don't want to work with him, I don't want to work with him. So they say, I'm sorry, I don't want to work. Or they just don't respond. But that's not a bad thing. There's no bad outcome of this. Everything you're scared about when it comes to outreaching, everything you feel like you don't know, it's just this big wall, this big mental wall getting in the way of your own success. Everything you think, oh, they're gonna think I'm embarrassing. They're not gonna ever want to work with me if I don't. Like everything, like even anything to do with this, right? I didn't pick these because they had some sort of commonality. They don't have any similarity between them. Sorry, my brain's losing. Like, you can have any reason, right? put down any reason. So whatever the reason is, right? You can have an infinite list of reasons, right? Infinite list of reasons. But the one thing they have in common between all of them is that they're all in your mind. They will all be in your mind. Everything is all within your mind. And I've made this video to show you that it is all within your mind. Because if stuff like this can happen, if results like this and this can happen, with, by the way, like the dumbest outreaches I think I've ever done, okay, and these are only ones that I can find, then you can land clients too. It is all within your head. Nothing changes if you go outreach to somebody. In fact, I'm going to see if I can find somebody who's looking for a client now. Here we go. So, looking for an editor, latest. Let's see. There was a person before that I saw. Who's this? You see, looking for an editor. For an editor. Oh. And then a portfolio link. Portfolio. Let me know if you're interested. That's all. All you need. And if this guy responds to me, cool. We can now move on from intro to video. If he doesn't respond to me, nothing changes. Nothing changes. Right? And when I was thinking, I wasn't thinking he's one of these guys. Because even then, like, we can go back and look at that guy. Right? He plays COD. He plays COD. How's Fortnite? Like, nothing wrong with these. But he's obviously not as intimidating as these people. He's like just a regular guy. Regular guy. I told you. This is the most intimidating you can get. And this is the least intimidating you can get. Just some like skinny, scrawny kid who's got some money who wants to hire an editor. And the worst case scenario is some guy with a Lamborghini who's got an ego. Right? This is the worst case scenario. No one's gonna... Like, nothing bad can come out of this. Right? Actually, here's one more thing I want to tell you. This is something that's fucking brilliant when it comes to outreaching. This is... Oh my god, why didn't I say this earlier? Holy shit. This is fucking good. Okay, you're gonna love this. Outreaching... This is literally what outreaching is. Holy shit, why didn't I do this earlier? Oh my god. Okay, you know what? I might include this at the beginning of the video. Outreaching is literally just a heavy message. What the fuck is a heavy message? Excuse my language. Heavy message. Right? When you DM your mum saying, I broke the plates. I burnt the kitchen down. Heavy message, because you're scared of the result. When you text a girl saying, I think you're cute, do you want to go out sometime? Heavy message. You're scared of the result, aka rejection. You have to break the bad news. You have to fire somebody that you outsource to, right? Whatever it is, right? If you send a message and you're scared of the result, the only reason you're scared of the result is because it's in your head, right? Whatever it is, it's in your head. Okay? And if this heavy message is like talking to somebody, like for example, if you wanna ask a girl out, right? If it's a heavy message like that, nothing to worry about. Because here's the great thing about outreach: over time, it gets easier. You see the way that I just outreached to that guy earlier? No sweat, no stress, no, I wonder if he's going to respond or not. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't accept me now, that's fine. Outreaching is essentially just a heavy message, right? And most heavy messages are like in your head. Unless you have to like, report that somebody died. Heavy messages are heavy messages and they're mostly within your head, right? Outreaching is the exact same thing. It's just within your head. And over time, that gets easier. You're like, oh, okay. Oh, it's not that bad. Okay? You'll get to a point where, just like earlier, where I responded to this guy. Where I outreached to this guy. Right? It is not that bad. Okay? You'll realize over time things get easier. And then this transfers. So when you start giving out heavy messages to other people about other things, aka asking a girl out, breaking the bad news to your mum that you broke the plates, or whatever it is, anything that you're like, any message you send which affects how you feel, like, worried about the result of all of this, like every example that I just showed you, it gets easier because of outreaching. Outreaching makes that feeling just feel smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until there's nothing to feel. Because you're so used to it. You're so desensitized to sending risky messages. You're so desensitized, like that's the best I can put it. You're so desensitized to sending risky messages that giving out heavy messages like that doesn't really affect you. Right? Believe me, you're going to be fine. Okay? And this is like the one thing that I can tell you that is going to put it to ease. But yeah. That's it. Outreaching helps you in wondrous ways. But I've got nothing to say, so goodbye.